Hello and welcome to the Alexandra Wenman Show. And I'm so delighted to introduce you to my guest today. Aline Hanle is a soul strategist, a spiritual guide, and a mindfulness teacher. And she owns a life coaching company called The Conscious Catalyst. She's been doing her work for over 25 years. And she's also created a fantastic game called The Cosmic Compass. And I want to delve really straight into, I think, where the game started for me, because it's just such an amazing, unique tool. Aline, thank you so much for joining me today, lovely.
Hey, thank you so much, Alexandra, for having me in your show and giving me an opportunity to connect with your fantastic people and your energy. And I'm so delighted to spend time with you.
Oh, me too, honey. I have to delve in and tell our viewers that it was instant connection when we first met. And like, obviously, because you contacted me to be part of another workshop space, but the key words that sort of popped out were Cosmic Compass, that you had created this game. And then I said, oh my God, I've said in my bio that I'm a Cosmic Compass. And it was just the multidimensional sisterhood went, wee. I love it. The reconnection. So can you, first of all, I just want to know a little bit about your magical story. What led to the game, first and foremost?
Well, the story of the game is magical.
I'm going to show it, actually. Let's just have a look at it.
That's the game. Yes, that's the box. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yes, this game came about 14 years ago when I was doing life coaching as more still with intuitive strategies, but I was the Cosmic Compass. Like, it was, everything was me. And what I realized is I had inadvertently created a codependency with my clients, where every time they were asking or needing an answer, they were asking me the question. And although I was helping them figure it out, but they were still giving me the, if I have something in my life, if I have a challenge, problem, issue, some confusion, let me go see Aline. And at the time, which is still true today, my vision and mission is all about self-empowerment and really helping my participant, my clients, my audience to remember that everything is already inside of us. We just have to listen. And so it actually became a frustration that turned into anger. And this creative energy, pure creative energy that I could recognize in me, I realized that if I was not doing something and using that creative energy for something specific, it would eat me alive. And so I just harnessed this anger and I directed it towards an intention given to my soul. And I told her, listen, this is clear. I'm all about serving you, but you're going to need to be very clear, because if in the next two days I do not have an answer, a guidance on how I can help people help themselves, I'm out of it. I'm out of this job. I'm out of this vision. It's not for me. I'm just deluding myself.
I love the reasoning with the higher self.
Yeah, brilliant. We need to have a conversation.
Yeah, you and I are going to have a chat.
And of course, in the following 48 hours, a series of coincidences just came up, because that was my work. My work for 48 hours was to pay attention. And I saw synchronicities that just could not be ignored. And by factoring them in together, I realized, like, oh my gosh, but this is what that is. And so the base, the foundation of the games was literally done in about a week and a half. And then the game followed fully with all the cards totally channeled in about 2 months and a half. And
that's quick, isn't it? That's straight download.
I think she was just like, oh, she's not kidding.
She's not messing.
So, and then it's been the journey of, testing the game and having it evolve in one first redesign and a second redesign. And then this version that you have is the third one. And right now it's being redesigned in a smaller version in different languages to be able to spread it in
the pocket version of the game that you could travel with. What I really love about it is that it's in equal measure, it's very simple, but also so multidimensional, like so many different ways you can use it. I love that.
Yes.
And I bet are you finding more ways to use it since it's been developed than you even intended?
Absolutely. People actually, what's interesting is, so people buy the game either because they've played it with me or they've played it with friends and family and realize, oh my gosh, I need one of those. And they, when they've not necessarily played it originally with me, they are unfolding it in their own way, which was really what it's intended for. It's like, make it yours, just use it so that it becomes your tool that you can find guidance with, and find your own answers. And so that is even like that multiply, optimize the dimensions of what I intended to originally. But it's beautiful how people, when they make it theirs, like which is really what it is. It's like, your life is yours, just make it yours, use your tool as it see fits, and you're going to be fine, right?
It's deep self-inquiry, isn't it? And we, I think even those of us that do this work, that are used to traversing those realms of the sub and super conscious, I think, even we still keep finding out more and more about ourselves. So I bet you use it for yourself all the time too.
I'm probably the one who plays it the most, not only because I use it for my own benefit when at time I have different choices, or I'm something unexpected comes that obviously was like, oh, I didn't plan that. So what does it mean? Like, what do I need to know about that piece of my life equation? And I use it in this time, but I also use it for when I do facilitate one game for somebody or for a group, because my consciousness is plugged into the consciousness of the group. I obviously receive information from another player. And that's the riches also of the experience, the collective experience of playing the game with a group, is that one player who is the one who opens the gate onto the consciousness exploration for all of the other one. Although it is pertaining more to the player, all of the observer, which I call the active observer, are really there to support the player with unconditional love, but also receive so much because it unfolds essential conversations, soulful exploration. And it's, again, one player could play out of the group of 15, and that would be enough for 15, 16 people to actually
everybody.
Exactly.
Which
and
is
so
that's all unity, love, consciousness, isn't it? I love that. That's so beautiful. And how long has this game been in development for? When did you start it?
So I started it in 2008. That's when it's the first spark, so to speak, came up. And then it took about 2.5 months to come with the basic, like the actual prototype box, like the golden box. It was really and at the beginning, I would say that due to probably also my own spiritual development, I was I defined it more as a mystery school tool, like a hidden gem that only for the chosen one. And when I say the chosen one, it's not necessarily this, but it's more for those who could understand it. So it was more energetically ethereal. It was more, you needed to learn the chakra system. You needed to have had already some understanding about your, maybe more Eastern philosophies or energy healing, and so that it would be just more for those who already are like-minded in this
Reawakened, I guess.
right?
Yeah.
Right. And then in 2016, believe it or not, when Trump got elected, I felt the call for action to actually make it way more practical for everybody, because to me, is coming into the power was giving me a green light that the world was ready to face their fears. And so in a time of facing fears, it's going to be confusion, it's going to be doubt, it's going to be needing a tremendous amount of guidance that is so basic, simple, and practical, that if the game was really just more of a tool, less charged with maybe what people may have called at the beginning, like it's a little foo-foo, it's a little woo-woo.
A little bit of woo-woo.
Yeah, right. So that to remove that layer somehow, sometimes that can come as, I'm not going to do it, and make it just available. It's a tool, just like you would take a book. It's just a book, you read the book. That's the same thing. It's a game, you use the game. And so I removed or transformed the chakra system into a focus. And so it's the same thing, but we just call it in a way that the mind drops the, oh no, that's not for me.
It's just a language that the layman can understand, isn't it? I suppose.
Absolutely.
Much more
Absolutely.
accessible in terms of mainstream.
Right. And what was interesting is it opened up to an audience that was a little unexpected, like children, for example, played more, because they didn't have to understand the chakra. It was just a word, right? I had entrepreneurs, corporate CEOs, like it really became a wider path, or a wider audience. It was really just becoming more an everyday tool for guidance.
Well, it's like a microcosm of the macrocosm. I mean, it's like a metaphor for life, isn't it? I mean, we're on the journey, and this is sort of mirroring the journey, but with a little bit more, I guess, if we could really see things written, you're going down this path because you're learning this, it would make things a bit easier, wouldn't it?
And it was really actually what I've heard, for so long, when I open up and awaken for my own journey. I was 24 years old, and I learned, after a year or two, and I was really telling myself, but why is it not like why no one gives us the direction? Like we just need guidance. Like, why don't we get the guidance? And then everyone was like, well, I just need a sign, or I just need and then when you hear that, it's like, well, if it was written everywhere, that would be easy. And I'm like, well, no, it is. It's just that it's not dense enough for most people. Well, let's make it dense. So
yeah, it's not like we know how to read the omens, but a lot of people don't speak the language of the omens or the signs from the universe, do they? So it's make it really up in their face.
Exactly. And it was, I do feel that my move from France to the States in 2001 also created this realization, because when I moved to the States, I didn't speak English well enough to feel myself comfortable in the world that was surrounding me, and the isolation was real. And I realized, oh, that's what's happening, is that when you don't understand the world out there, you just don't, you feel lost, you feel inadequate. And what you need is just to grab on information that will give you a way to relate to your world. And that's what the game does. You pick 8 cards, and these 8 cards picked because your soul drive you to do it. Place them in the design that is adequate for your question. Is going to be unfolding where you're going, how to get there, what gets in the way, how you can overcome this, find the fuel and motivation to keep on going, and find your space to relax if you need to. Well, that's all I need to go from here to here, because that's all I need to go from, if I want to go on vacation from Austin to London. Well, how do I do this? Well, you know where you're going, find the direct path. Google it if you need to. It's there. The information's out there. It's just,
I can tell you, it's so accurate too. I've done a few rounds of it now, and it's with every question I've asked, it's been like light bulb, of course, because it's the outer, the inner, every aspect of it that kind of is causing it, and how you get through it, and why you're going through it. And it's like, oh, hallelujah, the answers are there.
Right. And the beauty of it to me is that it really is giving back the power to reveal the answers to our questions, instead of necessarily seeking it outside with asking. And again, it's like asking for connection and having conversation, but making the final decision ourselves, because we own the information, the element. We have a way to factor all the information saying, I'm making this decision, so therefore I am responsible for it. And therefore it's like we can change everything along the way, because what we own, we can transform. If we don't
It's really
own it.
interesting to me, Aline, that you know, when you said you needed to develop it further when Trump came in, I get such a strong impression that something like this, or this itself, should be used in governments and corporations and things to make them, you know, to really make them look at what they're doing, to make everything accountable. You know, I think about things like politics and even the legal system, the financial system. You know, if they really looked at how to keep everyone happy, like really work as a collective, we would have no need for conflict. We would have no need for war. And, you know, we might see this, people might see this and think, oh, it's just a game. But actually, it's not. It's an incredible tool that it could be used in any arena. I mean, it could be used in schools to make sure that kids are learning adequately to what they need. I mean, if we had a program like this that was put out into every aspect of society, I mean, this is really, and I mean, I know you and I really operate on a very similar level of like thinking, but it's actually immense. I mean, I think you've created something that's actually a really powerful tool here. And part of me is like, well, I wonder if there's even a better name to give it than a game. I mean, it is metaphor for the game of life.
Well, and so that's a good point, because you're not the first one who say that. And that's why, you know, I call it an experience using a game format. But the game is significant because the ego, that is the one who is going to say that's not important, is not engaged at all in the experience, because it's a game. So
it's just having fun. It's like where we just use our imagination, right? Exactly. We're just playing. Right. Yeah, it takes that out of it.
Right. And so the beauty of it is, I'm convinced that over the past 14 years that I have played it and facilitated it, I have many people who have come because of these. It's a game, it's a soiree. We're doing soiree on a monthly basis. People come to the house and like, invite your friends, just a game, it's going to be fun. It's kind of like an entertainment. It's what I call an enlightening entertainment. Yeah.
Well, you could just call it the Cosmic Compass soiree.
Exactly, that's what I do. Yeah. And so people come, we have a potluck, we share food for the body, we share food for the heart, we share food for the mind. And the idea is really, because it is a enlightening entertainment, it's just, you know, people stay high and light the whole time because they are still diving deep, but there's never a feeling that there is a, like the player takes it as far as he desires or she desires to do it.
No need for resistance or fear or anything, just relax.
Right. And so
you're very clever, you know. You're very, very clever girl.
Well, she is, and I'm following. Like, she's like, because many times I had people saying, okay, well, we can help you with this game, we can, you know, make it bigger or whatever, but we're going to need to change this and this. And I'm just like, you're not in charge. You're not in charge because you don't know. She is telling me if there's a change, that's it. Which originally the game didn't look like this, and when it was ready to be unfolded into a different version, she was just like, yeah, world is ready, you're ready, fine, let's do it. But so it's interesting, and so I had to say no to give it to the ego who wanted to do it differently, because we're just not supporting the. And I remember when I first connected to this intention, it was really, I was given the energy of the guardian. I was the guardian of that potential. And it was not about, I'm going to make $1 billion out of this. It was, I am going, like, humanity is asking for this, and my human side is going to serve humanity and to the end. So, you know, it is a journey of having to just honor her and trusting she's going to take me exactly where we need to go and take us.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I had a very similar thing with that book there. There was I very nearly almost, well, let's say, handed it over to other powers, or whatever. It couldn't. And I literally got my ass whooped by the angels. And yeah, it was, yeah, when you're the conduit of something, guardianship is really, really important. And I think you just hit the nail on the head. And often we're like, what little old me, you know, who am I to do this? But actually, it's really important that we own and honor that.
Absolutely.
And I'm very grateful that you did, because it's such an incredible, immense, powerful, but so enjoyable and simple and fun tool.
Right,
It's just great. So how can people get their hands on the game, Aline?
So the game right now is the way in this version exists in the US. I'm selling it obviously on Amazon in the US. But if you are interested in finding it, you can go on my website and then get it. So there's an alinehanle.com. You can go out there and then find it. And then, yes, and I do have my brand new website online with courses online standalone, and then my membership that starts in about 3 weeks now. And so there's going to be ways to learn. There's going to be a video, 30 minutes video, to learn how to self-read. So you really are going to get the little tips to deepen your own self-understanding when you're playing the game, because I'm going to teach you how to connect and factor in some of these information.
So it's all interactive. I'll put all the links below here as well. But I don't want you to go yet. I still want to ask a few more questions. If you have time, I'd love
Absolutely.
So I want to go right back to the beginning with you. And how did you, let's say, discover who you are and how to do all of this, how to tap into this multiverse?
So as it has to come from the place of having to break the eggshell to be able to see what's inside. Everything around in my life, all dimensions in my life, fell apart. My health, my relationship, my relationship, love relationship, and my relationship with family. Like my father has passed away a couple of years before. Just this, like, leaving me with a series of narrative about what life is, and or life was, and who I was in it. And it was really a series of, I don't have the power, I'm not capable, I can't, I don't have enough, I am not enough, I am misunderstood. So it was kind of like my little luggage, my ego luggage. Here it goes. So, and then of course, when I looked at all of these aspects, there was nowhere where I could go, because there was like, I was dissociated fully from my power. And so, of course, it's the right place to be. There's no more going down, you know, touch the bottom. And I met this younger man who, at the time I was a fitness instructor, and he was coming to train in the gym that I was. And he was slightly different, because he was literally, there was an energy to him that I could feel already. I could not put words on it, but it was just like, I noticed that he was just different. He had like a composure about him. And so we started talking, and it happens that this guy is half Russian and half French. And I do feel that the Russian energy is what I was feeling. And he offered me, like, we were starting talking, and at that time I was so emotional, I just could not take it. And so we started talking for about an hour and a half. Like he literally gave me an hour and a half of his life, just holding the space for me to just like take all of my bags, just one after the other one, just shared all of my narrative, all of my stories of why I didn't have the power, and why the world was a bad place. And after an hour and a half of me feeling a lot better, because I was just now emptied of all of these heavy, burdening luggages, he was just looking at me, and the first thing he said, so, you know, I heard it all about your parents and your sister and your boyfriend. And he says, I don't know much about you, but what I know is that the common denominator to all of these people is you. So literally, and excuse my French, he says to me, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was shocked, because I was like, I just became so vulnerable. I gave you all of this, like my deepest, like darkest secret thing that I had my life, and you just slapped me in the face. And so I was angry, of course, and I left. And then 20 minutes later, I was pacing in my little apartment back and forth and literally speaking out loud. Who does he think he is? But that's not like that. Unbelievable. This is my life. Like, I share more, and boom, this is. And then it's kind of like I had the space to really hear myself and realize, I mean, he's not totally wrong. Yes, that's true. I am in all of this story. Well, that makes me the common denominator. That's not totally false, but come on. But yes, okay, fine. And then I realized, oh my gosh, there's got to be something there. And so I called him back and I'm like, I think we need to talk more. And then we met again that evening and we had a conversation that started really to open into his perception of the spirituality that I've never heard before, which I realized I was feeling it, but not acknowledging it, not knowing anything of it. And due to my upbringing, very atheist, very separated, there's what you see is what you get. You're born, you live, you die, nothing before, nothing after. That was my package from my ancestral, right? So, and then I just could feel like that's not true, but no one was there to guide me into, but what else is there, until he showed up. And with his version of more mystical, esoteric vibe, I could hear a story about the divine that could feel different and unique, but also very aligned. And so it was that moment where like, well, you know what? I don't know much about this, but that feels a lot truer to me than what I've heard of this guy on the cloud with his white beard. So I'm going there. And then it started opening the gate. He gave me the Celestine prophecy.
Oh, yes, I remember that one.
And I read it in 2 days and was crying because when I closed it, I remember saying, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one feeling this way. I'm not alone. And so the work was, but this is it. This is what we forgot. Like me, like we have forgotten that that's who we truly are. And so it became the mission. At 24, it was just like, the mission is to rekindle all of this, all of what we are. Like we are one. Like I know it. That's the reason why everything was separated. It didn't feel like the truth. And so the journey began in 24 and has not stopped since then to just practice and embody this oneness, this unconditional love, this, just.
It's like it makes me think of the book, The Alchemist. And it basically says when the alchemist is ready, the alchemist meets the alchemist.
Yeah,
it's like this man was the alchemist or the catalyst for you to then become the alchemist and the catalyst for others.
Totally.
And I have, I have such a similar story. And it was funny because just yesterday, so the day before yesterday, I had dinner with a friend. It was a belated birthday dinner for me. And we went to this restaurant that we always go to. And there was a waiter there I'd never seen before, really young guy. And he walked in and he sort of looked at me like he recognized me. And we had this real moment of connection and we got chatting. And my friend had given me flowers. And I said to myself, I must remember the flowers because he'd put them aside in water. Of course, forgot the flowers. So I had to go back the next day. I phoned him from the station and said, could you just keep them in water? I'll come back tomorrow. But I knew I had to go back to speak to this young man. And when I got back there, we had the most, he gave me a free coffee, made me a coffee, gave my flowers. And I went, isn't this a beautiful moment that I'm getting to speak to him about life and the universe, because he was really questioning. And then it reminded me of when I was much younger. And I had two people turn up in my life. I had a woman who is still a really dear friend of mine now, but she was such a mentor, and another man. And it was back in the day, these two people just, again, a synchronistic event, out of the blue, unexpected. And in many ways, both of them had said to me, you don't have the measure of yourself. You don't really know who you are, but you're here for something more. And in those moments, it was like this doorway open, like you described, the veil parts, and suddenly you're like, whoa, that's the mission, that is the purpose. how beautiful to hand that on to others, and so grateful that you actually went back and spoke to him more. And you know, I love the tirade and the marching up and down in your apartment, and the, you know, the ego doesn't want to know sometimes, does it?
Yeah, and you know, and again, I feel that part of the beautiful experience that started for me was this amazing space that he allowed me, he gave me to be me, which was the me at the time. Like that's what I really was. I was separated, and I needed to be able to be in that experience of complete vulnerability for me to start building back up into and revealing more of my power.
And he just went like this right in the wound, didn't he? He went,
that's it. And that's exactly, to me, it was just like, that was the power of it. And I said, this is who I am. That's what I want to be. I want to offer spaces for people to feel safe, which is what the game is all about. This is what the sessions that I do is all about. That's why the retreats that I do, it's all about having fun, light, and safe. So that's so safe that you can be so vulnerable that I'm going to come and like, and that's why the transformation is so instantaneous and powerful and transformative. And so I always remember the way I was feeling after that hour and a half of vomiting. It was literally emotional vomiting, and how I felt so spacious. And I remember it's like, oh my gosh, only this is already a gift to be able to do this. But you know, and I do feel that classical mainstream therapy that started in 1960s and unfolded did that. We were ready to actually reconnect and with one another and allows another to just have this more space. But I feel like it fills back up, and then we need to get more space. And so that's creating a codependency where it does not empower somebody. It's just like taking the trash out, but it just fills back up. And the idea is really like, how can we support one another in being recycle centers instead of trash cans and landfill. And so, and I do feel that we are
empower
getting
people
to
to do the work for themselves. It's
exactly.
fantastic.
Yeah,
really fantastic. But in that, do you still do one-on-one sessions, or but you change the way you worked?
Yeah, so I do have, so I'm putting in place right now the membership so that people can be more starting in a collective group, so we can come with, just like I did, moving from full separation, what I call low 3D to high 3D. So all of these onlines are made to give enough information for people to remember, oh, there's more to me. And then the 3D, high 3D to 5D, which is where I take people, are more of that's where I do the one-on-one, and it's full year long, where we're going deep to make you reopen to your channel and then reconnect with that soul. And really just that becomes your best friend for the rest of your life. It's like life exists as well, but when life is just disconnected, discombobulated here, you can always go back and spend some time with your girlfriend or boyfriend and just be one with you. And so that's really paving the path to that vertical experience and vertical connection. And then the retreats and the workshop as well that I do in France, in Italy, in the States as well, and maybe in London or in England.
Come to London.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Spreading the love far and wide, spreading your wings.
Yes.
I love
yes,
it.
yes, yes.
I'm so happy to be connected with you, Aline, and I'm so grateful that you're in the world doing this work and
same to
sharing
you.
it in the way. I mean, you are just you're such a warm and lovely light anyway to be around. One of the things that I would like to ask before we finish up is there any other just words of wisdom that you have coming through for viewers at this time now, after, because obviously we've had a really tough couple of years as a collective, haven't we? What would you like to say to people at the moment?
Well, I do feel that there's two main messages that I feel right now are essential for every single one of us to remember and just not only keep here, but practice so that it is integrated. And that's what I call my t-shirt quotes. But so the first one is no roots, no fruits. So no roots, no fruits, to me, represent the idea that we are here in our body. And unless we anchor back safely, lovingly, with compassion on this earth and start to be really desiring to unfold this heaven on earth, it's not going to happen. We need to get back to roots here and find the joy of being present into the 3D reality so that we can relate to one another, to animals, to the environment, so that we can take care of this ecosystem that works on its own. We just have to be willing to come down in our bodies and just be present down here. So no roots, no fruits. There's no heaven unless we're actually planting the roots for it. And we each are a root that allows this existence, this presence of heaven to actually become a reality in the physical form, right? The second message is, I am always at the right place, right time, doing the right thing, being the right one. When we start looking at this, nothing is wrong anymore. It's something that we may not understand, but it is not wrong. And when nothing is wrong, we don't feel the need to change anything, to fight something, to go against something. We're just finding the space to allow ourselves to look at a piece of the equation that we say, what is that? Like, I didn't ask for this and it doesn't feel good. Okay, so that's a question mark. What is it? Take the game, ask yourself, what do I need to know about this? And then you get the answer, and now you know how to factor that in. You can accept that experience, and then you elevate. And so, but it starts with me knowing that I'm always at the right place, right time, doing the right thing, being the right one, because my root is here. My body is here. I'm not anywhere else in the world at another time.
That final part, being the right one, I think is so important, because as humans, we've been so conditioned, and we've conditioned ourselves to think that we're wrong, or we're doing something wrong, or we're not enough, or, you know, how often do people beat themselves up mentally? And actually, if you just trust that you are, yeah, I'm the right person for this, I'm in the right space, the right time. If I'm here, I'm meant to be here. It's actually really beautiful. That is, to me, the cherry on the cake, that bit. I am the right one for, you know, for whatever it is I'm facing. Perfect.
Because we do hear a lot of, you know, divine timing, but the reality of it is, to me, it's like it needs to be brought so much. The divine timing makes it that me being the right one for me, for this moment, and everyone. Therefore, if it's true for me, it's true for everybody. Everybody is exactly where they need to be. There's nothing, if we want to change, something inside of us needs to change.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and that is the beauty of this evolution. Now we need to know that we cannot all learn fast and quick, and that there's different pace, but those who have, like you, who have and me, who have got the gift to, you know, to awaken, to just, I know, I feel that it's just such a beautiful journey to show the way and be the way and embody the way, so that others like, what's different? Like, what's unique about this? Like, that is something that feels different. And so being willing to go and magnetically just like connect, and that to me is like the tsunami. That's where things start really to evolve. So yeah, that's those are the two little t-shirt quotes. I feel that it's like, as long as I remember these two, then I can get myself back into my center and then unfold from it.
They're like beautiful little anchor points, aren't they? Just little reminders that, you know, you can handle anything, you're in the right place, ground, center, breathe, and all will unfold exactly as it should, in the best way. I have one to share as well. One of my favorite little things when I was going through a big challenge during the pandemic is TVT, and it stands for trust, victory, and triumph. And to me, whenever you stay in trust, you will always triumph. You know, it doesn't matter how big the challenge. Even if you don't know how you're going to get through something, I always say, I'm staying in absolute trust, and I am not deviating from that trust that it is all going to work out for the best. It will work out in the highest and best way for me. No matter what that is, I will accept that it is the best. And when that happens, it's almost like we are steering the ship in the highest, towards the highest timeline and the highest outcome possible. And even when your knees shake and you're terrified and you're going through something really, really big, if you let yourself believe that it's going to be a disaster, then it's almost like you're focusing on that. But if you let yourself really trust and believe, I'm getting through this in the best way and I'm going to be triumphant no matter what, you inevitably will. You really will. And that's really the mind over matter. This is the alchemizing of our experience into the gold. And it's never failed me. Really never failed
Beautiful.
me.
Yeah. And trust is so much right now what we are facing, because like you were mentioning, we just have such a disconnection with our human self that we are not trusting ourselves. We don't know that we have a higher self. And so where do we go for guidance, right? And so it's really about having to, stop racing where, like finding ways that out there. It's really just, okay, go back inside and, you came with the whole package. It's already there.
It's already there.
Right. And it's really about, who am I? Which again, it's thousands of years of mystical and guidance, where we have heard that everywhere. All the great masters have said it, have shared it but when we go back to that, if I know who I am, then I won't need to be in fear anymore, because I will always know that I'm here for me, that I can support me, trust me, be there for me. It's so essential. And
you have to become it. One of the ways I teach alchemy is not to go after something. You're not seeking. You become it. You must become it. Become what you seek. And that includes, like, if there's an obstacle in your path, become the obstacle and learn everything there is to know about what its needs are. Why is it there? It has a purpose. It's teaching you something. Wonderful. And in that way, that's what they mean by we are the philosopher's stone of our own lives. We become it, we transmute it, we're one with it. It's like Neo in the Matrix, where he just dives into the agent. Totally. Exactly that. The minute I go, right, well, if there's a storm in my path, I am the storm. What is it I'm learning?
Absolutely.
Really powerful.
Yes.
Oh, gorgeous woman. It's so lovely to talk to you. I could go on talking to you forever, but I know we've been going for a while.
I know. But thank you so much for your space, your sharing, your energy.
Thank you for joining me, Angel. And just to remind everyone again, it's alinehanle.com, and I'll pop the links below. And if anyone has any questions for Aline, just get in touch with her, really check out her offerings and check out her beautiful game. I'm going to show the game again, just because it's so pretty.
Yeah.
The Cosmic Compass. And thank you so much, Angel.
Thank
dear sister. And I'll be speaking to you again soon. And anyone else, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. Any comments or queries, do get in touch below. And we will see you again soon on the Alexandra Wenman Show. Thank you.
Bye.